Alright, so I know this isn't the typical kind of video that I do, usually my videos are much more edited and much more than that, but this is just going to be a very quick video considering chapter 5 is going to come out tomorrow, at least at 10 a.m. my time, so I want to get this out by today, and it's going to be covering the entire, at least from what I know, the entire explanation of the ARG for Deltarune. So far everything we have. And most of my sources are coming from this Discord server, GoldPro's Discord server. You should watch his videos as well. He makes very good videos regarding the ARG of the past 2 to 3 times that we've had it. And all these images are gotten from there, so credits to them because I didn't actually get to make the cut this time. So first we're going to analyze this image. This is arguably the most important one, as when asked where will it take place, someone answered lake. To my knowledge, at least 2 people did, and it turns out this is the right answer. Here we see a sprite of Chris in a area that might be the lake, but some noticeable differences are that there is no table and the trees are of much different color. So it might be a dark world, might be the lake itself, but during sunset, or maybe something in between, I don't know. But what we do know is that lake seems to have been the right answer. And we have some interesting flavor text at the bottom of it, which say, this is it. You only need to see her once and you'll move on. Her is an interesting notion here because her in this ARG has been assumed to be Noelle, but no, I'm not too sure. It could be Noelle, at least most things seem to point to her, but this specific usage of her feels like it could even be Des at one point, since we know the lake is important. We know deaths are tied to the lake. Onion disappeared in chapter 4 after hearing the song of the lake. Susie mentions hearing a song across the lake in the ending of chapter 4. So it feels like the lake has a lot of things building up to it. Hell, even image deaths is an image of the ocean, it just recolored. So it feels like water, surprisingly enough, is going to be very important. And that's all for lake. So for the next image we have here. Shelter. This seems to be a common response, being, is that really what you're hoping? As when we look here, this one, you answered over the cauldron of hell. It gives the same response. Is that what you're really hoping for? So I'll assume that's more of just a standard response. So we can move on to the next one. Wherever the cat lives. The cat in question most likely being friend. And we have another common response. You know you have to be more specific than that. We see this response in this image as well. You answered where the prophecy said it would, and it says the same thing. You know you have to be more specific than that. This is most likely, Toby just saying, oh yeah, you can't just give a really vague answer expecting a good answer back. But anyways, next image we have the field of pink and gold, or where in The Lord of the Hammer chapter 5 takes place. And this seems to be a common notion. I have some bad news for you, but you'll figure it out yourself. I believe we get this answer at the same time here. Whenever a dark world is mentioned, it seems that we get the same response. That there is some bad news, but we're just gonna have to wait to figure it out ourselves. Same thing here, on the Princess Castle Town. Same thing, I have some bad news, but you'll figure it out yourself. I think that's very much implying that something bad is gonna happen in the Dark Worlds, but Toby just can't let us know that yet. Then we have Ferris Wheel. This is another very interesting choice, as we have a lot more to it. It says, you want to see them together so badly. You want to see those red eyes dance. Even so, it's wrong. Everything about it is wrong. But what good is it for me to say? The heart does what it does. So don't worry, you'll make it. You always do, don't you? This line in specific, you want to see those red eyes dance, is definitely Chris. As we know that red eyes has been talked about by Eram in Question of Chris. Talking about how they can see Chris's red eyes just gleaming through the dark. So this is definitely Chris in question, and it's most likely to assume them together being Chris and someone else. maybe Chris and Noel, maybe Chris and Susie, who knows. But all we know is that according to Toby, or whoever is talking to us, because keep in mind it cannot be Gaster, because Gaster talks in all caps, so whoever is talking to us knows that, or at least in their opinion, is wrong, and everything about it is wrong. But they say that it doesn't really matter what they say, so we'll make it as we always have. So again, we have this one where the angel emerged. This is just, again, you have to be more specific. But then we have this one. You answered home. Wouldn't you want it to be someplace different? This answer is also a common one. I don't have the exact image, but when also answering Noel's home or wherever, you get this response. Wouldn't you want it to be someplace different? I'm not exactly sure what this can imply, given chapter 4's weird root really advanced in Noel's place, so who knows, maybe that has some importance. Then we have this one, again, another really important one. You answered at the festival. That's what you want, isn't it? Candy apples, square dancing, that's what all of it was for. Well, it was always going to be this way. The only people that walk this path are those who have their face so close to the road they can't even see where they're going. But well, if we're lucky, maybe there's a chance you'll still get lost along the way. This feels very reminiscent of what Gerson said at one point in chapter 4, talking about how the path that is in your face, in question being the prophecy, it's a little bit darker in between the lines. So maybe this is talking about how in the normal route, it's just the people that walk this path or so have their face in the road, or it's just in their face. So possibly in the normal route, it's just something that's going to happen, but in the weird route, or when you got lost along the way, at least that's my interpretation of it, it's going to be different. Then we have this one, at the graveyard. I feel this is a reference to some game that Toby's inspired by, as it says, I get it, if you hit the grave you might reveal a secret staircase and then gripping the edge of the coffin. Maybe not, but at least he came up with something interesting. This last response seems to be, again, another common one. If you say something that is not vague enough to reward, you know you have to be more specific than that, but also not random enough to where he just won't answer. So it seems like this seems middle ground, and he just prompts this statement. I'm sure there's a reference there, but I don't have it myself. And then this seems to be the third common response, but if you say when it's supposed to happen rather than where, Toby just says try to keep up, as the question says where will it take place, not when. So if you answer to when, you'll just get left behind. Now this seems to be a same common response, the fourth one so far, but whenever you are mentioned or you mention yourself, so when I, with me, or things alike, you just get the response gross. I think this feels more weird root related than anything else, given what happens in chapter 4. So I feel this could be like, oh, Noel will smile with us, the player, and whoever we're talking to thinks that's gross. And then we already talked about this, but in the Dark World, any mention of Dark Worlds, Flower King, even Flower King prompts this response, which is very interesting. But if a Dark World is ever mentioned, we get, I have some bad news for you, but we just have to wait to figure it out ourselves. Then we have this one, you answered in a dream. This is pretty much the same thing Susie tells Noel as to what chapter 2's Dark World was, and all we get is not at all. There isn't really much to analyze here aside from the fact that this response is the same thing that Susie told Noel and Bertley in chapter 2. So I think this is maybe furthermore confirmation that Noel is going to be in chapter 5's Dark World, which would make sense considering the chapter 5 page, with chapter 5 being the second biggest visible number. And then we have this one. This one just seems more like a joke, and I don't even know if it's real, but someone mistyped Field of Pink and Gold with Dealed, and this prompted Toby to break character and just question what Dealed means. I think he just found it funny. I think that's what happened. Anyways, that's all the images that I'm going to be analyzing, as these are all the ones that were in the Discord server. I've seen more on places like Twitter and Reddit, but those seem to prompt pretty much similar responses, like again in the Dark World, and also mentioning Flower King gives this same response, which is interesting. I feel like that could be maybe some connotation that the Dark World will take place in Flower King at one point. But regardless, I feel one final analysis that should be done is of answering the lake. And my interpretation of this, and especially the line, "You only need to see her once and you'll move on." I think move on can be interpreted as one of two things. Moving on as seeing something that happened and just going on about it, or moving on in the way that the weird route takes it, maybe as someone has been used up and you just move on and you only need to see her once. Again, the her is throwing me off, as for the entire ARG, her has been most likely Noelle, but now I'm not too sure. Now I feel like maybe this her could be Des. And again, Des, as we saw 1-2-5, when you have a bat, everything looks like a ball. Des may or may not be related, but who knows, honestly. We just have to wait until tomorrow to see Deltarune Chapter 5, and maybe I was right, who knows. But tomorrow is definitely going to be the end of a lot of things in Deltarune, and we'll just have to wait and see what stays and what ends.